blood, pride, hatred, history, glory, more than a match, more than a rivalry. This is El Clásico. The entire 20th century forged El Clásico's soul. Every decade added another layer. Every political shift deepened the divide. Barcelona became more than a club. They became a symbol of Catalan resistance, a voice for those who felt silenced by Madrid's centralized power. Their motto said it all: Més que un club. More than a club, Real Madrid became the club of dominance. The club that collected league titles like other teams collected match programs. Franco Spain may have been complex, but one thing was clear: Madrid won. And they won often. In the mid-century, Madrid didn't just rule Spain. They ruled Europe. 5 consecutive European Cups between 1956 and 1960. An achievement so staggering that it's never been repeated. Di Stefano, Puskas, Gento, names that built an empire. Barcelona answered differently. Fewer trophies in those decades, certainly, but a stronger identity, a clearer purpose. They weren't just playing for cups. They were playing for something deeper. Then came 1943, a match that should have been forgotten but never could be. Real Madrid 11, Barcelona 1. But the scoreline doesn't tell the story. The circumstances do. The pressure, the politics, the fear. That defeat scarred Barcelona's history forever. Some wounds don't heal. They just transform into motivation. 3 decades later, Barcelona found their answer. Not just a player, but a prophet. Johan Cruyff arrived in 1973, and everything changed. 1974, the Bernabeu, Madrid's fortress. Barcelona won 5-0. Cruyff scored a goal so audacious, so impossibly brilliant, that it still bears his name today. A flying scissor kick that defied physics and humiliated Madrid in their own cathedral. This wasn't just a victory. This was a philosophical statement. Barcelona could play football that Madrid couldn't. Football is art, not just as conquest. By the end of the century, the score sheet told one story. Madrid led in silver, in European Cups and league titles. Their trophy cabinet groaned under the weight of success. But Barcelona led in meaning. And sometimes, meaning matters more than medal. The 21st century arrived with a question hanging over El Clásico. Could Barcelona ever truly match Madrid's dominance? Could philosophy ever defeat power? The answer came from an unlikely source. A quiet former Barcelona player who had learned everything from Cruyff, who believed that football could be played with such precision, such control, that opponents would simply surrender. His name was Pep Guardiola. Guardiola took charge of Barcelona with zero managerial experience at the top level. People questioned the appointment. Madrid certainly weren't worried. They should have been terrified. This era changed football forever. Guardiola didn't want to win titles. He wanted to redefine dominance itself. He wanted to play football so perfectly that it became mathematical, inevitable. Barcelona collected league titles, cups, and European glory with surgical precision. But it was what they did to Madrid that truly mattered. 2009, the Bernabeu, a title race that Madrid thought they could control. Barcelona arrived and demolished them 6-2. Peak held up 6 fingers to the Madrid crowd. The image became iconic. But Guardiola wasn't finished. Not even close. 2010, Barcelona returned to the Bernabeu. This time, they won 5-0. Complete, total, humiliating dominance. Madrid's players looked lost. Their fans sat in stunned silence. This wasn't just defeat. This was psychological warfare. Trophies flowed to Barcelona like a river that couldn't be dammed. La Liga after La Liga. Cups. European glory. Madrid were left chasing shadows, grasping at air, watching Barcelona play football from another dimension. And at the center of it all stood a player who barely spoke, who let his feet do the talking, who turned El Clásico into his personal stage. Lionel Messi. Every time Madrid thought they had found a way to stop him, he evolved. He didn't just score goals. He orchestrated symphonies. He bent matches to his will through pure genius. The world watched Barcelona during these years with something close to reverence. This was football at its absolute peak. This was what the sport could be when played perfectly. Madrid's empire, built over decades, suddenly looked fragile. Their dominance questioned, their philosophy challenged. But rivalries don't stay one-sided for long, and Madrid were about to find their answer. Two men rose above the rivalry. Two players who would define an entire generation, who would push each other to heights that seemed superhuman. Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. When Ronaldo arrived at Real Madrid in 2009 for a world record fee, the rivalry transformed. This wasn't just club against club anymore. This was genius against genius. Two players who refused to accept second place. Every Clásico became a duel for history. The entire world stopped to watch. Not just Spain, not just Europe, everywhere. Goals answered by goals. Records shattered weekly. Ballon d'Ors traded back and forth like currency. Messi dominated the fixture itself. His record in El Clásico became absurd. 26 goals, more than anyone in history. He scored hat-tricks at the Bernabeu. He humiliated Madrid repeatedly. Ronaldo dominated the response. When Madrid needed someone to carry them through the darkness of Barcelona's dominance, he stepped forward. 18 Clásico goals of his own. Crucial ones. Devastating ones. The rivalry became global. Children in Asia wore Messi or Ronaldo shirts. Debates raged in Africa, South America, everywhere. It wasn't enough to support Madrid or Barcelona anymore. You had to choose a side in the Messi-Ronaldo war. Football reached its highest point during these years. The quality of play, the individual brilliance, the sheer drama of every encounter. This was the sport operating at a level it had never achieved before and might never achieve again. But here's what made it perfect. They made each other better. Every Ronaldo goal pushed Messi to respond. Every Messi masterpiece drove Ronaldo to train harder. The rivalry within the rivalry. And football was the ultimate winner. Yet Barcelona's dominance during Guardiola's era created a problem. Madrid had to respond, not just with talent, with something darker. Enter Jose Mourinho. 2010, Mourinho arrived at Real Madrid with one mission: end Barcelona's control, by any means necessary. Madrid stopped chasing beauty. They chose confrontation instead. Physicality, mind games, tactical warfare that bordered on chaos. And it worked. The league title returned to Madrid in 2012. Barcelona bled points. Their invincibility shattered. Trophies were split again, balance restored. But the cost was steep. Press conferences became weapons. Mourinho poked Tito Villanova's eye on the touchline. Matches became battlegrounds where yellow cards flew like confetti. This wasn't football anymore. This was survival. This was two clubs locked in combat that went beyond sport. Some called it ugly. Others called it necessary. Madrid didn't care what anyone called it. They just knew they were winning again. Mourinho left Madrid in 2013, but his impact remained. He had shown that Barcelona could bleed, that their philosophy could be disrupted. That dominance was temporary. The rivalry had evolved again, and Barcelona needed to evolve with it. Barcelona's answer came from an unexpected source. Luis Enrique, a former player who understood what the club meant, but refused to be trapped by nostalgia. 2014, Enrique took charge and did something radical. He replaced patience with power. He took Barcelona's possession-based philosophy and added something new: directness, speed, ruthlessness. Then he unleashed the most devastating attacking trio football had ever seen. MSN Messi, Suarez, Neymar. Pure, unfiltered chaos. Three players who could win matches alone, playing together. Defenders had nightmares about them. Barcelona reclaimed domestic dominance immediately. League titles, cups, European success. The treble in 2015. Madrid were beaten not with endless possession, but with speed that they couldn't match. In 2015, Barcelona won 4-0 at the Bernabeu. Suarez scored twice. Madrid were embarrassed in their own home. Again, the rivalry adapted, as it always does. But Barcelona controlled the moment. MSN combined for over 120 goals in that first season together. The numbers were absurd. Madrid watched and wondered how to respond. They had spent fortunes. They had world-class players. But Barcelona had something special. Then Madrid found their own answer. Not in attack, in belief. Zinedine Zidane took charge of Real Madrid in 2016, a club legend with minimal coaching experience. It seemed familiar. It seemed risky. But Zidane didn't chase domestic wars. He chased legacy. While Barcelona ruled Spain, Madrid ruled Europe. And they did it in a way that seemed almost impossible. Champions League after Champions League. 3 in a row. 2016, 2017, 2018. History rewritten. An achievement that might never be matched. El Clásico still mattered. Barcelona still won plenty of those matches. But Zidane had realized something crucial. Trophies in May matter more than trophies in November. Madrid traded local pain for continental immortality. They could lose to Barcelona in La Liga and still end the season as European champions. As the best team on the planet, Barcelona won the battles. Madrid won the wars. It was genius. Frustrating for Barcelona, but genius. The balance had shifted again. Not in league titles, in legacy, in the history books, in what people would remember decades later. Zidane's Madrid weren't always the best team in Spain, but they were the team that performed when it mattered most. In semifinals, in finals, in moments where legends are born. And then, after a decade of the greatest individual rivalry in football history, something unthinkable happened. The legends left. Ronaldo departed for Juventus. Madrid lost their goal machine, their leader, their identity. Messi left for Paris Saint-Germain. Barcelona lost everything. The player who defined them for nearly 2 decades. Gone. El Clásico faced its greatest crisis. Could the rivalry survive without its 2 greatest warriors? Would anyone care about Madrid versus Barcelona without Messi and Ronaldo? The answer surprised everyone. The rivalry lost its icons, but not its meaning, not its intensity, not its ability to produce drama. Trophies slowed for both clubs. Rebuilds began. Transition became the new reality. Barcelona turned to their academy again. La Masia producing talents, youth mixed with experience. Xavi returned as manager, bringing back the philosophy that had made Barcelona great. Madrid built with patience and precision. Vinicius Jr. developed into a superstar. Jude Bellingham arrived and became an instant legend. Carlo Ancelotti guided them with wisdom. The matches became unpredictable again. Raw, unfinished. Neither club dominated completely. In some ways, it felt like the rivalry had returned to its roots. Before the superhuman individual battles. Before the tactical masterminds. Just 2 clubs who represent different visions of football, fighting for supremacy. New heroes emerged. Vinicius scoring crucial goals. Pedri controlling midfield like a veteran at 20 years old. Bellingham arriving from England and immediately understanding what El Clásico means. The future became unclear again, and that uncertainty made the rivalry exciting in a different way. Because now anything could happen. So where does El Clásico stand today? Who has won this century-long war? The trophy count is close. Real Madrid edge ahead in European Cups, that most prestigious of honors. Barcelona have dominated certain eras domestically. But here's the truth that both clubs understand. El Clásico isn't about who has won more. It's about the fact that it never ends. Every victory is temporary. Every era of dominance eventually fades. New managers arrive. New players emerge. The rivalry adapts and continues. Trophies define eras. Guardiola's Barcelona, Zidane's Madrid, the Messi-Ronaldo years. Each period writes its own chapter. Legends define moments. Cruyff's turn, Messi's solo goals, Ronaldo's headers, Ramos's last-minute equalizers. moments burned into memory forever. But El Clásico defines football itself. Because when the sport needs to prove it matters, when it needs to show the world why billions of people care, when history needs a stage, it chooses this match. Other rivalries come and go. Other competitions rise and fall. But Real Madrid versus Barcelona endures. Through political change, through generational shifts, through everything. The greatest football rivalry isn't the one with the most violence or the most hatred. It's the one that elevates the sport itself, that produces the greatest players, the best matches, the most unforgettable moments. For over 120 years, these two clubs have pushed each other to be better, to innovate, to never settle, to always demand more. And that's why it matters. Not because one club is right and the other is wrong, but because both clubs refuse to accept anything less than greatness. The rivalry continues. New chapters will be written. New legends will emerge. The balance will shift back and forth, as it always has. El Clásico, not just a rivalry, a legacy without an ending. And somewhere, right now, two clubs are preparing for the next battle. Because the war never stops. It just pauses between moments of pure, beautiful chaos. This is El Clásico, forever unfinished, forever perfect,